At the press conference in London, somewhat out of the blue, she threw down the challenge of making this, 3-minute rounds, and you weren't so into that challenge. Could you explain why? Why did you not want to do that?
I really have no problem fighting 3-minute rounds. I could do 15 threes if they wanted, but I guess my concern was fighting 12 3-minute rounds and a 10 2-minute paycheck. I don't think that would have been very, very smart from either end. I think the couple of years back we had the fight scheduled, and the reason you pulled out was because of the pay. So we shouldn't sell ourselves short in the biggest fight of our career. We can do 15 3-minute rounds if the money's right. I really have no issue at all doing 3-minute rounds. Yeah.
Are you okay with that response?
I thought this was the biggest payday. I mean, on paper, this is for women. It's on contract is the biggest payday. And I thought it was, just, I guess maybe the rematch.
Yeah, maybe. We can definitely renegotiate after.
Y'all hear this shit? It's Katie's fault. Oh, Katie, I didn't want to hear it. So, for a fight of this magnitude, and from what Amanda Serrano just said, is that they're making like career high money. Like the biggest paychecks in women's boxing history. This fight is on the way to a sellout, from my understanding, in Madison Square Garden. About 18,000 or so tickets plus being sold. It's in the big room, ladies and gentlemen. They've been getting the fight week attention, like being on a Today Show, all around New York. Like some real big media stuff has been going on with this fight. What is being dubbed as the Mayweather-Pacquiao of women's boxing, the biggest fight in women's boxing history. And it's getting that push from DAZN and from Matchroom. Phenomenal undercard. Jessie Vargas versus Liam Smith. That right there will be blood. Franchon Dezurn taking on Elin Cederroos. Undisputed at 168 pounds. Those are two other fights right there that can be its own main event and headline its own card. Rashad Matty, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Up-and-coming prospect. Austin Ammo Williams. Who else is on the card? I'm going to pull it up. By the way, take your time out. Like the video, subscribe, and T-Street Controversy with Fight View 360. My chat is supposed to be in that big empty space over there. I don't know what's going on with it. But the press conference for Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. Undisputed, of course. WBC, WBA. There it is. IBF, WBO Ring Magazine Championship. It will be this Saturday on DAZN. The card starts at, I believe, the main card starts at, at 7 p.m. Because from my understanding, let me pull up DAZN real quick. Because from my understanding, the two cards are not going to overlap. Basically, the main event, let's go check real quick. By the way, take your time out, like the video, subscribe. Schedule. Saturday. They don't have it oh, wait, they don't have it listed yet. Why is it not? Oh, I'm tripping. Too far down. Saturday. The main card starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So the main event is supposed to be ending by the time the main event, by the time the second fight on the Top Rank on ESPN broadcast starts. Basically, we'll be able to watch Taylor Serrano and Valdez Stevenson uninterrupted. We'll be able to watch both cards, from DAZN starts early 7:30, and then at 10 p.m., Top Ranks card, I believe it's 10 p.m. Could check real quick, but I don't feel like it. Fuck it, let's go check. Boxing info, wait a minute, where we at? Let's go check real quick, get the times right. It starts at 10 p.m. So Taylor Serrano, East Coast time, starts at 7:30 p.m. This main card starts at 10 p.m. All right, so we set. Let's go look at the undercard. Already, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 fights of pretty much note right here. Dezurn, Cederroos, as you can see, all that gold on the line, including the ring. Katie Taylor Serrano, the main event. All that gold on the line, including the ring. Jessie Vargas versus Liam Smith, a fight that's been 2 years in the making. Then you got Galal Yafai, Shad Matty. Isn't he the Albanian bear? And there he is, Albanian bear. Sky Nicholson. Top tier card for the zone. Top tier card. But also remember you have next week Canelo versus Bivol, and that's going to be uninterrupted, meaning that we'll be able to watch that. There's no other cards competing with that next week. Isn't it like time going a little bit like fast? You got Canelo Bivol next week. That's next week. It's here. That's fight week next week. And then the week after, you got Charlo versus Castaño 2 with Boots Ennis versus Castillo Clayton. And I forgot who opens up the card. The press conference for Katie Taylor versus Serrano from New York is going to be starting in 10 minutes. Shout out to my colleague, Donnell, who's actually credentialed to be at the fight. So we're going to be getting some exclusive content from Fight Night. I'm not going, but Fight View 360, we are in the building. We've been getting back out the fights, and we got a lot more that we're going to be getting back out to coming up in the future. Let's go look at the boxing schedule real quick. Brush up on what's going on. This is from Dan Rayfield's Fight Freaks Unite. Here, I'll put the link in the chat for you. Best boxing schedule on the web, and he updates it daily in accordance. So the Valdez Stevenson card, Keyshawn Davis versus Esteban Sanchez. By the way, I got some content to put out on them later on today. I was on a media Zoom call with them earlier in the week, so I got that content. Nico Ali Walsh, this poor kid gets so much shit from the media and fans, but it is kind of top ranked fault though, because they really been forcing him on us. Like, it's like, bro, we get it. He Muhammad Ali grandson, we get it. Y'all don't gotta be fucking smacking us in the face with it. Like, we get it. Shit. So pretty much this is a showcase card. Because it's not on pay-per-view, the real money is in the main event. This is the main event, you know. So the Katie Taylor Serrano card, you know, is going to be over by the time Keyshawn Davis is in the ring. So that's what's up. How would you rate this Katie Taylor Serrano card? Personally, me, I'm giving this joint an A, because you got 2 undisputed fights. You got 3 fights that can be its own event. Of course, Katie Taylor Serrano, Jessie Vargas versus Liam Smith can be its own event. You know, maybe a smallish type of event. It would do well over in the UK, but overall, it can be its own event. And then Franchon Dezurn versus Elin Cederroos. This has been a undisputed 168-pound fight that's been coming for a really, really long time. And it's going to be a really fun fight. I mean, after all, I hope it's not, you know, I hope I don't get canceled. But basically, Franchon Dezurn went life and death with a juiced up LGBTQ. Like, bro. You know? Like, so basically, it's kind of like fighting a man. If you really want to be honest. Come on. Have y'all ever seen Alejandra Jimenez? Like, I'm not lying. You know? I'm not just making this shit up. Here, I'll show you. Watch, I'll show you. You think I'm joking? For those who didn't see it, how her sew-in got all knocked off. It was snatched out of her head. It was crazy. And funny enough, I was ringside at Jessie Hart versus Joe Smith, and Joe Smith was putting a whooping on Jessie Hart. And watching the fight with Clarissa Shields. No bullshit. That's why I interviewed Clarissa Shields that night. And she was like, why would she wear that to a fight? You shut up. But yeah, this is you know, this is like, bro, like, this is who, you know, this is who Franchon Dezurn fought. Like, you know, and she held her own, to be honest. Like, they was throwing, like, I'm talking about, these punches was flying, bro. And I was like, oh, like, it was ugly. Let me tell you, it was ugly. So now you got this undisputed fight with Cederroos. Cederroos, in her last fight, she's been on for a while. She beat Alicia Napoleon on the Showtime fight. Y'all probably remember it if you really think about it. What card was this? It was a televised fight because Napoleon was the one that was supposed to win and to go on to fight Clarissa Shields. Boots Ennis was on this card. It was Shields versus Hobson. Here you go. There you go. So as I was saying, overall, you know, pretty solid card. Pretty solid card. But yo, for the newcomers who are just getting here, let me tell you something. Did you wonder why this fight is not 3-minute rounds? Did you wonder why this fight is not 3-minute rounds? Let's listen to Katie Taylor.
12 3-minute rounds and a 10 2-minute.
Let's listen to this shit. Listen, it's Katie's fault. I love me some Katie Taylor, but this hurt me right here. This was hurtful to hear this. Listen to this.
In London, somewhat out of the blue, she threw down the challenge of making this, 3-minute rounds, and you weren't so into that challenge. Could you explain why? Why did you not want to do that?
I really have no problem fighting 3-minute rounds. I could do 15 trees if they wanted it, but I guess my concern was fighting 12 3-minute rounds and a 10 2-minute paycheck. I don't think that would have been very, very smart from either end. I think a couple of years back we had the fight scheduled, and the reason you pulled out was because of the pay. So we shouldn't sell ourselves short in the biggest fight of our career. We can do 15 3-minute rounds if the money's right. I really have no issue at all doing 3-minute rounds. Yeah.
Are you okay with that response?
I thought this was the biggest payday. I mean, on paper, it's for women. It's on contract is the biggest payday. And I thought it was, I guess maybe the rematch.
Yeah, maybe we can definitely renegotiate after Saturday night.
I like this businesswoman, Katie. It doesn't get talked about enough.
This is the business. We're in the business. We're in the herb business, but it is business.
I think the WBC belt wouldn't have been on the line if it was a 12 3-minute round fight as well, and it would have made this fight less important. The undisputed title is on the line on Saturday night as well, and that to me is absolutely everything. Having all the belts on the line. Having the opportunity to bring all the belts home as well, that is absolutely huge. So why make the fight less important?
Would you like at some point?
So listen, let me break it down to you. Katie Taylor basically said it's not 3-minute rounds because of money. But then Serrano pulled the card pretty much saying like, well, wait a minute. This is supposed to be the biggest purse for any women's, boxing event ever. Like, that's fucked up. And then she says the WBC, the WBC belt would have possibly not been on the line. And, like, that all seems like bullshit to me, man. I think, and you got to think, Katie is the A-side, and maybe, because she has slowed down later on in fights, just because they're women, you can't, not think that they be using that political bullshit, too. So I'm thinking that, on her side, she's like, nah, you know what, I might gas out. Or her team was like, listen, let's not make this 3-minute rounds, because you have a history and we got to keep it real. You might slow down and, this girl can go all night. So all that bullshit about, man, this should have been at least 10 3-minute rounds, at least. And they want to talk about equal pay and all this shit. Like, bro, this event is doing very good. 17,000 or so plus tickets sold and counting. For a women's boxing event in the big room in Madison Square Garden when the city's opening back up, no mandates. This is doing good, and if you watch women's boxings, those 2-minute rounds blow by quick. So fuck that. Like, I like Katie Taylor, but let's keep it real. They want to fight like men. They want equal rights like men. So we got to treat them like men when it comes to media. Respectfully. Still ladies. T-Street love the ladies. But I'm saying, it's like, that's a bullshit answer. Like, this, if y'all calling this the biggest fight in history and all that shit, they stole that from Clarissa Shields, and now it's like, nah, we ain't fighting 3-minute rounds because it ain't 3-minute money. But then, Serrano's like, this is supposed to be the biggest person in motherfucking women's boxing history. Doesn't make any sense. Let's hold over to the press conference. That doesn't, I ain't gonna lie, my piss is a little bit boiling. For that, By the way, once again, we're going to be there in Madison Square Garden. Fight View 360 is on their way to New York. We're going to be at the weigh-in and at there during fight night. So we're going to have some exclusive content. Me, of course, my black ass ain't going nowhere. I'm going to be right in the house, you know, covering my video, doing my videos from the comfort of my man cave, you know. And besides, you guys can come hang out. So I had to basically rebuild my PC. I've been saying that I wasn't going to stream. I've been saying that I was going to stream during events, but my PC kept shutting down when I was trying to stream and watch a live event. So I had to replace some shit in my computer, a fan, PCU, thermal cooling, all kind of nerd shit that you don't give a fuck about. So I think I'm pretty safe now to stream a live boxing event, because I didn't want to be streaming a live boxing event like Ugas versus Spence, and then my computer just starts smoking and blow up, and then before you know it, the whole night is fucked, you know? And I was taking a snack break. I was eating pretzels. My bad. But let me run this back for you, though, since they're taking a little break. I'm eating pretzel sticks. If you were wondering, if you're just getting here, damn it, it's copyright. If you're wondering why we're not getting 3-minute rounds, blame Katie Taylor. That's her fault. Listen in.
Being very, very smart from either end. I think
They bring a piece of me with, I was able to.
And you weren't so into that challenge. In London, somewhat out of the blue, she threw down the challenge of making this, 3-minute rounds, and you weren't so into that challenge. Could you explain why? Why did you not want to do that?
I really have no problem fighting 3-minute rounds. I could do 15 trees if they wanted it, but I guess my concern was fighting 12 3-minute rounds and a 2-minute paycheck. I don't think that would have been very, very smart from either end. I think a couple of years back we had the fight scheduled, and the reason you pulled out was because of the pay. So we shouldn't sell ourselves short in the biggest fight of our career. We can do 15 3-minute rounds if the money's right. I really have no issue at all doing 3-minute rounds. Yeah.
Are you okay with that response?
I thought this was the biggest payday. I mean, on paper, it's for women. It's on contract, is the biggest payday. And I thought it was, I guess maybe the rematch.
Yeah, maybe we can definitely renegotiate after Saturday night.
I like this businesswoman, Katie. It doesn't get talked about enough.
This is the business. We're in the business. We're in the herb business, but it is business.
I think the WBC belt wouldn't have been on the line if it was a 12 3-minute round fight as well, and it would have made this fight less important. The undisputed title is on the line on Saturday night as well, and that to me is absolutely everything. Having all the belts on the line. Having the opportunity to bring all the belts home as well, that is absolutely huge. So
Here's my issue. My bad. I finished my pretzels. They want equal pay, and talking about this is the biggest fight in women's boxing history, but yet and then you have Amanda Serrano saying that this is supposed to be the biggest purses in women's boxing. But yet they're saying, no, we don't want to fight 3 minutes. Like, this don't make no sense to me. And to me, it looks like a political thing, and a strategy from Katie Taylor's side, because she has been known to slow down later on in fights. I'm sorry, it's like a fight of this magnitude. This is supposed to be like the staple, okay, like I am woman, hear me roar type of shit. They're supposed to be fighting 3-minute rounds for this fight like this. So 10 2-minute rounds? Nah, I'm not trying to hear that shit. For a fight of this magnitude, and they're in the big room. You heard them. They're close to a sellout. You see what I'm saying? They're close to a sellout. 17,000 plus at least. As you can see, everyone's sitting down. They're about to start. Let's go over. We'll talk after the press conference.
And it's the young ladies out there who are supporting these women. And I want to call on the women right now to be a part of Saturday night, to tune in, to watch, to buy the pay-per-view, to support these ladies, because that's what this fight needs. We need to prove that the business side of this can sustain so that women's boxing can continue to get big paydays, continue to drive forward, and continue to be equal in all aspects of the sport. So if you're, a woman out there watching this, tune in Saturday night. to support these ladies. They've worked their whole entire lives to sacrifice and dedicate themselves to this moment. So please, you're doing a good thing by tuning in Saturday night. And thank you so much for letting me be a part of this event.
Jake, I know now your involvement in boxing. You're desperate for Amanda to win on Saturday night. Just a quick word on the fight. You're fully confident that your charge will be victorious and become undisputed lightweight world champion?
More confident than you are.
Really? I don't think so.
I got a bet for you, Eddie.
I'm not having a tattoo.
I'll bet you all the jewelry that I'm wearing right now that Amanda wins the fight.
I was hoping to bet for a lot more than that.
Well, then let's put it on.
I mean, 10 grand's not a lot.
This is 500K.
We'll talk.
500K.
We can have a bet. Me and you can have a bet. I think we got a head after with Ariel, right?
Oh, I just proposed it.
Really? I want to see those
500K.
500K?
500K, dripping right now.
Okay. Maybe we can talk about $1 million, but we'll have a chat.
Let's do $1 million.
Okay. We'll talk. I know about your bets. I know. Oh,
he's scared.
Down there.
I bet Amanda wins for $1 million.
Okay. We'll get that together. We'll get it together. Don't worry.
You're not shaking my hand.
Don't worry. We'll get it together. Actually, we're the underdogs in the fight, apparently, with the bookmakers.
Come on.
We'll talk.
I'll meet the odds makers' odds too.
You don't need to. You're the favourite.
$1 million plus odds.
You're the favourite.
Shake his hand.
Regardless, let's do it.
Shake his hand.
Let's go.
Oh no. He's scared. He just lost $1 million.
Anyway, we'll get that papered up because I'm not sure about you. In here tomorrow at the Hulu Theatre, going to be a huge crowd in here for the weigh-in, and don't forget to tune in live on DAZN on Saturday night. Jake, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Don't forget about the bet as well.
No problem.
And when Amanda wins, I'm giving your $1 million to her. So just want to put that out there.
Put Eddie in a tough spot. You think you're gonna take the bet? If Amanda wins, I mean, he shook on it, but something tells me he's not going to take the bet. Let's watch the face-offs. So if you don't know, the main event is going to be over by time the basically this card is going to go to about 10:30 or so p.m. Eastern, no later than 10:45. The Top Rank on ESPN card, headlined by Shakur, Stevenson, and Oscar Valdez, is going to be starting at 10 p.m. So the main event is not going to be starting until maybe around closer to midnight or so, if not a little bit earlier. So basically, the main of you're going to be able to watch both cards comfortably. This card starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. It's almost a sellout at Madison Square Garden. 17,000+ tickets sold. Undisputed, of course. Amanda Serrano is the favorite to win. Katie Taylor is the one who declined 3-minute rounds, citing money. So it's going to be 10 2-minute rounds. And for what is being said is the biggest fight in women's boxing history, I feel that that's somewhat disrespectful, especially for what they're trying to accomplish regarding equal quality and bigger pay. Me personally, I feel that Katie Taylor is concerned about fighting 3-minute rounds, especially 10 3-minute rounds, where she has a history of slowing down later in fights due to her punch style or her fight style. But yeah, I was really disappointed to hear that. A fight like this should be 3-minute rounds. But hey, can't bitch about it now. Katie Taylor does have the better resume. Despite Amanda Serrano being a 7-time world champion, fought as low as 115 pounds and as high as 140. She's dealt with some allegations herself in the past due to her trainer, who has a really bad attitude and a lot of people don't like. You haven't seen him much during fight week. They've been taking the focus off of him, and I think that's a good thing. Also, a few years back, about 4 years or so, right? Katie Taylor had beat Cindy Serrano. Cindy Serrano the sister of Amanda, didn't put on a really good performance. Katie is a 2-division world champion, undisputed. She went up to 140 a few fights ago to win a 140-pound title. Dropped it, went back down to 135. She's now undisputed. Right now, if I was to say, You know, if you were to really say who's probably the smaller fighter of the two, I'm talking about like looking at where they've been weighing in at and whatnot. I have to say that Amanda Serrano is the smaller. However, I can say Amanda Serrano, looking at her resume, which we're going to show right here real quick, has the higher knockout percentage. As you can see, Katie Taylor 20-0 with 6 KOs. Amanda Serrano 42 1-1 with 30 KOs. But if you look, her last fight was against Marion Gutierrez. Both Katie Taylor and Serrano fought Gutierrez. Just that Serrano beat her up bad. But if you really look at it, to be honest, even though she has all these accolades, Katie Taylor overall has the better resume. Natasha Jonas, who is now a 154-pound champion. They both share opponents in Marion Gutierrez. She fought Delphine Persoon twice. Christina, I always butcher her last name. I was at the Rose Volante fight. Eva Wallstrom, you can't count her because basically Katie Taylor's whole career, pro, and amateur, she's been whooping her ass. Jessica McCaskill, that win has aged really well. McCaskill currently undisputed at 147 pounds. Vivian Obanov has a win over Natasha Jonas, and Vivian Obanov had beat up and killed her husband allegedly. Or her boyfriend. She's sitting in prison somewhere right now. No bullshit. But yeah, not being 3-minute rounds does kind of, like grind my gears a little bit. Here is the card. The Chief Support, which is a real good fight that's going to get the blood going, blood pumping. You're going to have Jessie Vargas versus Liam Smith. Both fighters promising a knockout. That fight's been 2 years in the making. Franchon Dezurn taking on Elin Cederroos. That's also undisputed at 168 pounds. You have also Ammo Williams taking on Cordell Booker. 2 undefeated fighters. That, has some value to it. And then, of course, some prospects fights between Galal Yafai, Rashad Maddie, and Sky Nicholson. Overall, I would rate this card an A. What does Clarissa Shields come into play? Nowhere, because Clarissa Shields currently right now is competing at 160 pounds. That's where her and Savannah Marshall are going to meet. And these women right here are at 135 pounds. This is for 135 pounds. There's no way these women would be able to meet. Katie Taylor, she can't fight at 147. I can't imagine her weighing at 147. They already say she built like He-Man. So her at 147, she'll be like out here, But Clarissa Shields also has went on the record multiple times to say that 147, getting down that low, is just not healthy for her. So the lowest she can go is 154. And I can't see Katie Taylor ever touching 154. I can't see Amanda Serrano ever touching 154. It would be a light 154, like a 145 or some shit like that. These basically they're just too small. They're just too small. Even current 154-pound champion Natasha Jonas, she's too small for 154, but it's women's boxing. You see what I'm saying? So they can maneuver around like that. Now, Clarissa Shields can't do 147. 154, that's it. Like, that's it. She said it multiple times. 147 is just way, way too low. If Cecilia Brackus would have beaten Jessica McCaskill, then Brackus, should have had moved up to fight Clarissa Shields possibly at 147 and 154, because what are y'all talking about? Who's saying Katie Taylor? How are they saying Katie Taylor's the best of all time? Well, that's a promoter and her team. So, of course they're going to say that. But this is what we're going to do. We're going to actually be back in less than 2 hours for the Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez press conference. This press conference has been, an hour and a half, 90 minutes. It's been a long press conference. So, remember, we're going to be here on Fight Night, covering 3 of these fights, unless Austin Ammo Williams, Cordell Booker, depending on what happened with that. But for the most part, we're going to be covering the Dezurn, Cederroos, Taylor Serrano, and Vargas versus Liam Smith. And then tomorrow, we're going to be here at the same time at 1 p.m. Eastern for the weigh-in as well. So take your time out, like the video, subscribe. I am T-Street Controversy, the Fight View 360. And I'll see you guys in about an hour and a half or so. Thanks for watching.